I struggled with sensorimotor OCD for over 10 years, and it was probably one of the most exhausting and difficult experiences of my life. I think people really don't understand, annoyingly, how difficult sensorimotor OCD can be when you say to people, look, I'm really getting stuck on my swallowing, on my blinking, on paying attention to my heart rate. People tend to think, what? Like, why? Why are you getting stuck on that? Just don't pay attention to it anymore. Don't think about it anymore. You can just move on from this. It really shouldn't be a problem for you at all. And only if only they really understood, what was actually going on, the kind of torture, the torment that people with sensorimotor OCD go through when you're constantly aware of that thing, and everything that you're doing to try to help you to not be aware of that thing just seems to actually be making the situation worse. So, what really helped me to turn a corner with sensorimotor OCD? Because, of course, today I actually have a 12-week program to help people to overcome it. If you're interested in that, you can follow the link in the show notes. But yeah, I really have learned how to overcome it, to manage it, and for it to move into the background. I don't even really think about it very much these days at all, apart from when I'm coaching people, where, of course, then it might pop up into my consciousness for a moment or two, but I forget about it just as soon as the session finishes. So, how have I been able to do that? Well, I think the most important thing that I learned over the years is that, the one thing that we're all doing with sensorimotor OCD, which is really keeping us in that trap, is that we're constantly trying to get rid of the sensation or the awareness. We're doing everything that we can to not be aware of it. And I think, what we're thinking is that there's some special skill or technique out there. There's a specific answer to this problem. And if we think about it long enough, if we put enough effort into it, if we really try very, very hard, then we can find a way out of the sensorimotor OCD trap. But the reality is that actually is the trap. By constantly thinking about it all the time, by looking for that certainty, by, kind of getting caught up with the sensations and, ruminating on them and trying to tell ourselves, I can figure this out. We're just drawing more and more attention to it. We're giving it more and more energy. And by doing that, it just stays there in the spotlight. No matter what we do, we are frustrated. And, this is very, very difficult because, of course, if you are judging your success by, how aware you are of the thing, and then the things that you do just make you aware of that thing, then you're going to go on and on and on indefinitely, feeling frustrated, feeling angry, feeling upset. The most important thing that I realized is that actually I can begin to allow and tolerate those sensations to be there in the background. I don't have to completely get rid of them in order to start living my life and in order to start finding contentment with things again. And, by actually practicing that in my day-to-day life, of course, this takes practice. This is something that you need to build up over time. This is about learning about acceptance commitment therapy to help you to live more in the present, to be more accepting of things, imperfections. It involves exposure, sometimes kind of on purpose, going into the sensations themselves and learning to pay attention to them and feel them more and to get more comfortable with them. Most of the time with sensorimotor OCD, what are we doing? Well, it's the absolute opposite of that. We're doing everything that we can in order to get rid of that awareness, which is, of course, just making us more aware of it. When we can actually learn how to lean into that discomfort and say, you know what, it's here, so I'm going to feel it more. By doing that, by actually, inviting it in, interestingly, you begin to be not quite so bothered about it. And this is really a fundamental practice in sensorimotor OCD and overcoming it, is really realizing that the awareness, the sensation itself, although it feels like the enemy, it feels like the problem, The reality is that it's not. It's the story that we're telling ourselves about that. And it's all of this resistance to that. The moment that you start telling yourself, okay, I don't like it, but you know what? It can be here. I'm going to allow it to be there in the background. What you're doing is you're being much more self-compassionate with yourself. You're giving an opportunity for acceptance. You're allowing that sensation to be there, so you're not fighting with it so much. Typically, over time, what happens is you do become less aware of it. And this is something that I see all the time with people that I'm working with. Of course, it can be setbacks along the way where perhaps you improve for a bit, then it might come back again. But if you keep plugging away with this kind of approach, over time, typically, it really does work for people. And it really has worked for me in order to put sensorimotor OCD really back in its place where it belongs. So many thanks. I really hope that you enjoyed that. Remember, I do have a 12-week program specifically for people with sensorimotor OCD. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com. There's a link in the show notes. Many thanks. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.